All right, we live. All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Fisherman for Zion, back again with another Sabbath service. Let's get the Most High Yahweh here. All praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High. All right, we give honor and reverence to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, right? Who the world ignorantly calls God, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, right? Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? Shalom to all of the mighty men that has brought forth this word and taught it to us. Shalom to the mighty men that still continue to go out and teach on the highways and the hedges. Shalom to the brothers that's coming into the truth, learning this thing, being diligent and steadfast, and getting themselves prepared to go out and do the work. Shalom to the mighty Aqua that are married and being keepers at home, daughters of Sarah, and raising the children in righteousness, right? Shalom to the sisters that are not married, that are coming into this truth and being diligent and married to the Most High. Shalom to the children that's being brought forth in these last days. Shalom, shalom to all of Israel, right? We back again through the Spirit and the grace and the power of the Most High to bring forth the lesson, right? So, real quick, let's get the book of Acts, chapter 18. We'll get straight to it. Acts chapter 18 and verse 3.
Book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 3. And because he was of the same craft, he bode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers.
Right, read on.
And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Right. So it's our desire and our duty to persuade the Jews and the Greeks, right? The Jews, the Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, that have been woken up and resurrected from the dead and know that they're Israel and that are keeping the commandments and the faith in these last days. And we have to reason to our people that are scattered abroad that have no clue, no idea that they're God's chosen people and that the Most High has an elect foundation, which is the kingdom of heaven for them, right? So we have to do that instant, in season, and out of season to wake up our people. And we can only do it through the Spirit and power of the Most High. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13.
The book of Philippians chapter 4, starting at verse 13. I can do all things through Christ, Hamashiach, which strengthened me.
Right. So it's the spirit of power and the mercy of Yahweh Shai, which is why we're able to go out, read these precepts, the Most High open up our understanding to be able to break down the strongholds of our people, right? So today's lesson is entitled The Dead Israelites Rising on the Third Day, right? The dead Israelites rising on the third day, right? Now, who are the Israelites, right? Let's get the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 1. Right now, this is milk. This is the foundation of understanding, what the Lord is all about. The Lord has a chosen people, right? And those people are on the earth. This whole Bible is literally about them, right? These are their records. And the Lord left these records for his chosen people, for them to find out in the days that you live in there. All right, so bring it out, King.
Book of Revelation.
You got it, King.
Book of Revelation, chapter 21. Verse 1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away.
Right, the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. Read on.
And there was no more sea.
And there was what?
And there was no more sea.
And there was no more sea. Right? What does that mean that there was no more sea? Right? Bring it out. And it's Revelation 17.
No,
bring it up.
But this is the precept. This is to answer the brother's question. This is Revelation 20 and 11. I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them.
And there was what?
Found no place for them.
Right.
There was no more sea.
That's right. The them is talking about people. Right. Go to Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16.
Revelation chapter 17, starting at verse 16. And it reads,
so like you start at verse 15.
Starting at verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest,
The waters which thou sawest, read on,
where the waters sitteth, are peoples.
are who?
Are peoples.
You see that? So the waters are peoples, right? So John the Revelator is giving you allegory in seasoned sayings, right? He's saying it to you in a way in which only a particular you got to know the Bible, and only a particular people are going to understand what he's saying, right? So read that again in Revelation 21:1.
Book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Right? A new heaven and a new earth, a new rulership, right? That's what heaven is, right? Heaven is reigning and ruling on the earth. A lot of people think that heaven is just, well, you have different heavens, right? Every time you see the word heaven, right, it's not talking about where the Most High is, right? Where the Most High is, he's sitting on his throne, mighty, right? With his beautiful woolly hair, right? And his mighty shiny face, right? Every time you see the word heaven in the scriptures, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about reigning and ruling on the earth. Real quick, get that in Revelation chapter 5 and 10, right? Revelation chapter 5 and 10.
It's Revelation chapter 5, starting at verse 10. And it reads, and has made us unto our God.
Unto our God.
Kings and priests.
Kings and priests, right?
And
so you have kings and priests that God has made, right? Now, God formulated these men from the foundation of the world that their lot in their life is to be kings and priests. They may not be living like kings and priests right now, but in due season, guess what? They're going to be kings and priests. That's what they're made for, right? Now, where are they going to be doing on the earth?
And we shall reign on the earth.
And we shall what?
And we shall reign on the earth.
Reigning on the earth is having dominion, right? It's having, you have to say so, right? Nobody's has some type of authority over you. You're the authority, right? You're the chief man in town, right? You set the rules and the regulations that was given to them by their fathers. Right? Bring it out.
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 2, verse 1. How have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger,
right?
And cast down from heaven.
And did what?
And cast down from heaven.
Read on.
Unto the earth the beauty of Israel.
The what?
The beauty of Israel.
Right. So the Lord said it cast down from heaven unto earth, right? Because the Lord said what? What's done in the heavens has to be done on the earth, right? The mirror embodiment of what you see in the heavens, that has to be played out on the earth. Right?
A point mountains. Jerusalem is a city set on a hill. And if you ever see like mountains, they're always up like in the sky, like with clouds around them. So the one the Most High cast you down from that, he's bringing you literally low. You know, the spiritual reflects the carnal.
That's right. That's right. And that's Matthew chapter 16 and verse 19. Right? Can you get that real quick? Matthew 16 and 19.
16 and 19.
Okay.
Book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 19. And I would give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
Can you read that again?
Book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 19.
Right.
And I would give unto thee,
right,
the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
Now, the Lord said that this is what he's going to do, right? This is not going to come back to the Most High void, right? This is what Yahweh Shah said. He said, I'm going to give to you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, right? That's a promise. And you best believe that's going to happen, right? I will give unto you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And we're going to find out who this is talking about. Read on.
And whatsoever thou shalt bind in on earth shall be bound in heaven.
Read on.
And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loose in heaven.
Right? That's that walking embodiment of what's in the heavens has to be played out on the earth. Right? Now get Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5. This is who it's talking about.
I got a precept on that. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 7. And to the angel of the church of Philadelphia write, these things said he that is holy, he that is true, he that had the key of David, he that opened it and no man shut it, and shut it and no man opened it. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and has kept thy word, and has not denied my name.
And has not denied my name. Now get Exodus 19:5 to show you who that's talking about. Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5.
Book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed.
Right? If you will obey my voice indeed, this is Moses. Right? Read on.
And keep my covenant.
Right?
Then ye shall be a peculiar treasure.
You shall be a peculiar treasure. Read on.
Unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
Right? Read on.
Verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Unto everybody.
Unto the children of Israel.
Unto the children of Israel. Right? So these people that are going to be reigning on the heavens, which is going to be on the earth, are who? The children of Israel.
And it says it should be above all people. Like that's, literally, with the spirit behind it, you should be above all people. But literally, Jerusalem is other nations are gonna have to look up at it. Like they're gonna see the kingdom of heaven. Like they're gonna have to look up, like, yeah, that's Jerusalem. It's a city set on a hill.
That's right. That's right. And right now, you have people that literally think that they're in the kingdom of heaven right now. Right? They think that, I did good on my taxes this year. I did enough to, I kind of kept a lot back, right? That's good. Or you may have people that invested into crypto, Sheeb, right? Well, I did good on my wallet,
Coinbase,
right? Coinbase, right? Did you check your Coinbase, right? Your Bitcoin, right? We did pretty well. We're in heaven, right? This is it. It doesn't get much better than this. Look at my condominium, right? Look at the land that I just bought. You see that? Now, this is the kingdom for someone,
right?
But this is hell for somebody else, right? Get that in Proverbs.
I got to appreciate.
Let me get this real quick. Let me back up. Yeah, you can bring it out. Go ahead. Bring it
out. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, talking about Yahushua and Israelites, talking about Israelites. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless.
That's right. And that's what we want, man. Right? That's what we want. But we have to go through this wicked world, this wicked society to get that, man. Right? This is the condition of the battle that we must fight. To get through this wicked kingdom, this wicked world that somebody else is ruling over, right? That somebody else has the dominion over. Who's that man? The so-called white man, right? Esau, the red, stinky, nasty, abominable, filthy, right? Man, the man of sin. And that's why the Lord said this. Go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 2.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Read on.
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
The people do what?
The people mourn.
And you can easily see that the earth is in mourning right now. Right? Everywhere across the face of the earth is just totally out of course in mourning. Like the Lord said in Isaiah the 24th chapter. Right? It says let's get it real quick. I don't want to paraphrase it, right? Let's not talk about it. Let's be about it, right? Isaiah chapter 24, and let's go to verse 5.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Right? The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Right? Everywhere. Right? New York City, right? Baltimore, Maryland, Los Angeles, right? Florida, Chicago, Philadelphia, North Carolina is defiled. You got a lot of people. Well, I'm moving to North Carolina. That's the Bible Belt. You know, it's holy there. That's holy land. This land is defiled, right? This land is wicked,
Right.
right? Read on.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Broken the everlasting covenant, right? And that covenant is what? Real quick, get Numbers chapter 33 and verse 35.
33.
Numbers 33 and 35. I think that's what I want.
The book of Numbers chapter 33, starting at verse 5.
35. 35, right?
Numbers select it 35 and 33.
The book of Numbers
35
chapter
and 33.
35, starting at verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So
when Isaiah said that the land is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, they have broken the holy covenant. This is what he's talking about.
It also goes back to Cain killing Abel. After that, he cursed the ground.
That's right.
And then, Cain he got to be killed for that.
Yeah, that's right. And you're going to find out in due season that Cain is back on the earth, right? He's that man back on the earth that hasn't been punished for the crimes that he's committed. You're going to find out that he's who? Esau, the Edomite.
That's right.
Right? So the Lord said that this earth cannot be cleansed except by the blood of him that sheddeth it. Right? So the earth is defiled and everybody's in mourning. They don't know what's going on. You got people crying for rappers that got killed in America, right? Little Dolph, right? That's his name, right? Young Dolph, right? He got put to death. Why? Because he was dabbling in this wicked kingdom, this wicked society, right? And that music industry, that rap music, man, right? Where they're putting all manner of spells and curses on your children. So guess what? He's not here anymore. He's gone, right? He's gone. Stop crying over Little Dolph, man. So the Lord said the earth is defiled, right? Go back to Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right? The people rejoice when the righteous are in authority. When King David was ruling and reigning and he was in the spirit, right? The whole world was in order. Right? Read on.
But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
The people are now in mourning. And that's what you have within our nation. You have all manner of sorrow, sighing, and crying. And we even sigh when we go out on the streets and we have to teach our people to wake up that they're Israelites. That's sighing and crying. Right? That's why let's say Jeremiah was the weeping prophet, right? Because he was out there crying for his people. And that's what we have to do. Right? We can't take no breaks. We can't say, well, Lord, I'm gonna take a month off. No, we have to do this forever until the Lord comes back. That's our duty, that's our job, and that's what we're elected to do in these last days. Right? So let's go to the book of Matthew. You got a precept?
I had one, but it was going over what you were talking about, Little Dolph.
Bring it up.
I'm just read it right quick. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Verse, I'm gonna start at verse 18, and it said, "Behold, the days come that I would begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly and with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled." So it's an affliction to see how people take matters upon their own hand and killing their own brothers and sisters. And even if the wicked make plans to kill us, that's just an affliction.
That's right. And guess what? Your favorite rappers are gonna get put to death by the Lord.
Right.
Your local drug dealers, right? Little Keith, that you know he sell the packs and he get them. He go to the coast and he gets them and he said, well, I'm gonna sell them to the people. Guess what? And he sell them to the people, and now the people are destroyed. Right? Guess what? He's gonna get put to death by the Lord.
I got one more, King.
Bring it out.
Same book, Second Ezra in Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 24. At that time shall friends fight one another, so like fight one against another like enemies.
Like what?
Like enemies. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still. In 3 hours they shall not run.
And Salaki, and you saw the little Dolph situation. It was 2 Jakes that put him to death. It was 2 Jakes. They was masked up. One of them had a semi-automatic gun, right? He had an automatic gun, and the other one had a handgun. And what did they do? They hopped out of a white vehicle. When they hopped out of the white vehicle, they seen little Dolph, and what did they do? They shot him. They shot him up, right? Literally put him to death on sight, right? And the Lord said, friends shall do what? Be enemies. And those are brothers. They may not know it, right? One of them may be from the so-called South Side, and the other one may be from the so-called West Side. But guess what? Though they from the same nation. They may have the same great-great-grandfather, but they were separated on a slave plantation. And now, what are they? They're nigger mans,
right? Destroying
each other, man. Got the community all aroused and upset. There was just like a mass amount of shootings after that event took place. And that happens everywhere. It happens in Chicago, happens in North Carolina, it happens everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, right? So you have wicked men on the earth. Go to let me get this precept real quick. Go to Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 8.
This is the book of Second Ezra chapter 5, starting at verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places.
Right? The Lord said there shall be a confusion in many places. Right? It's confusion all over the earth. Right? The only place you're gonna find the truth is if you go to some corner somewhere downtown and you see men with fringes on with Bibles in their hands.
Right.
That's the only place you're gonna find the truth. Other than that, it's confusion all around you. Right? Read on.
And the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places.
And the wild beasts are even going to change their places, right? Hey, you have animals right now. This is wicked to say. You have animals, you can look it up, that are homosexuals. You have homosexual animals. That's wicked. Look it up, right? You have animals that have left their natural state and they said, well, I'm going to deal with the same kind, right? I'm going to be a boy dog and I'm going to deal with boy dogs, right? They even got the mightiest animals on the planet freaked out, like the lion and the tiger and the bear. Right. I wish we could pull it up, but you have to look it up on your own. You had a point, King?
They like the otter, like it's known that otters where they go and rape like penguins, and you could catch this on camera. They'll go rape baby penguins or baby seals, and at first I didn't believe it, but it's like they do that. They is out here just raping baby animals of it could be from a baby seal or it could be dead or whatever, and they just out here just raping it, and it's just like that's madness, man.
Man, we see things carnally like that going on. What's going on in the spirit realm?
That's right. That's right. Everything is out of order. Right. Everything is out of course. All right. Read that again.
Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places.
And the wild beasts shall change their places. What else?
And menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
What is little Dolph?
Monsters.
Little Uzi Vert?
Monsters.
What is that Edomite that just killed all those people and got off?
Monsters.
See that? There's monsters in the earth, right? A lot of people say, well, I want to see monsters. Let me go to Netflix and type in Monsters Inc.
Monster Incorporated.
Yeah, Monster Incorporated. Let me watch a movie. No, go outside and guess what you're going to see? Monsters. right? The Lord said that menstruous women are going to bring forth monsters, right? And these are the days that we living in right now, right? You're looking at the Bible before your eyes. Read the Bible and just go outside and you'll see monsters.
So like the point I was gonna make earlier, when every time a so-called black man dies in the industry, they always do a memorial. Like you have clips going back. I just seen one. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. Rick Ross, a rapper called Rick Ross, was showing how he was receiving gifts from Dolph, and you got other rappers talking about how he was such a good person and this and that. And on the same scale, you got another thing going on where so-called black men was getting judgment in the penitentiary, and so they was shining that light. So it's like, I'm not sure if a lot of people make aware of things like this, but when something happens to a so-called black man in the upper echelon so-called black community, it's like other black men is put on the pedestal too. So now you got all these so-called black men always constantly being radared on the news channel, and now everything is about us. And it's always they do this all the time, and it's like you got the presidential election, and then after that you got this, and then after that you got shootings, or you got tornadoes, and then after that you got so-called black men doing something, or they trying to make so-called black people look like we the only thing on the earth that is bad, and that's all they push.
The Lord said, "Be not ignorant of Satan's devices, man." Right? All these things that you see going on, you have to keep your spiritual. You have to be spiritual. These things are happening for a reason, right? To keep you distracted from what's going on, which is the coming of Yahweh Shai, right? So go to Matthew chapter 17 and verse 23, right? Let's see what the Lord said. Salakia, we got to go back to Revelation chapter 21, right? We went up a rabbit hole, right? Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1.
This Revelation chapter 21 starting at the top again. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea.
Right, and we told you that the sea are peoples. Right, read on.
Verse 2, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God power out of heaven, prepared as a bride adored for her husband.
Right, and the bride, right, is who? That's the nation of Israel. Right, real quick, get the book of Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 2. Right, Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 2.
This is Jeremiah chapter 6, starting at verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
To a what?
Comely and delicate woman.
The Lord said he's likened Zion to a comely and delicate woman. And what did the Lord say? Go to Matthew chapter 22, right? Where the Lord said that he's married unto you, right? Go to Matthew chapter 22 and Salakia.
Verse 9.
Go to verse 9, but I was looking for Jeremiah 3 and 14, but we get that after. Go ahead, read that, Matthew 22.
Matthew 22, starting at verse 9. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
Do what?
Bid to the marriage.
Right, so we know that there's a marriage coming, right? Which is the same thing that John the Revelator said that, hey, that bride being prepared for her husband, right? Bid to the marriage, read on.
So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good.
Right.
And the wedding was furnished with guests.
Right, now go to Jeremiah 3 and 14.
Book of Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, save the Lord, for I am married unto you.
For I am what?
For I am married unto you.
So the Lord is preparing you for this marriage, right? Now, before this marriage, you was divorced from the Lord, right? The Lord divorced you. He wasn't dealing with you anymore. To prove that, go to the book of Hosea. Go to the book of Hosea, chapter 5 and verse 14.
For the Hosea, chapter 5, verse 14. For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, and as a young lion to the house of Judah.
Right?
I, even I, will tear and go away.
The Lord said, listen, I will tear and go away. Right? Ephraim and Judah, southern kingdom and northern kingdom, which are the Jews and the Greeks, the Jews and the Gentiles, right? The Lord said, I will tear away, right? I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna divorce you, right? You want to serve Diana of Ephesus. You want to bow down to a golden calf, right? You want to serve Zeus and Ptolemy and all of these other gods. Guess what? I'm not dealing with you anymore, right? Read on.
I will take away, and none shall rescue him.
Right? None shall rescue him. Read on.
Verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early.
And right now, you're being afflicted, right? You're being afflicted on the highest level that you've ever been afflicted, right? You may have thought that slavery and picking cotton and getting your back beat in was the worst that you've received. No, this is the worst that you received, because now you've been given gifts, right? You have been afflicted and you don't even know you've been afflicted. The Black men, Hispanic, and Native American men, right? You don't even know that the Lord is proving you so that you can get in this thing, right? Even people in the truth, man. You think that just because you know the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, that you can get comfortable, right? That you can stop reading and stop praying and stop studying, right? So you just stop doing the work. No, you have to continue this race,
Okay, and
right?
There's a point to understand that with the supplement. Israel used to, going back to the point that Israel is in a war and they don't know that they're in a war. So the people that the Most High wake up to lead that fight, first of all, you're blessed enough to know there's a fight and a war and a spiritual war going on. So you got to be like very in forefront and very push that movement, because the reason why Esau can come in and mess with the chemical things in your food is because you don't know. He didn't teach you. He can mess with all these other things and scientific things because you don't know. He didn't teach you. He can mess you up in law because you don't know. You don't study any of that. So we got to be scholars at this Bible, because that's the one thing that we're appointed to know. And then that goes into everything else. The spirit of truth will lead you into all truth, is what Christ said.
That's right. That's right. So let me back off of that. Give me the book of First Maccabees. I want chapter 12 and verse 9. Right? First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 9.
Look at First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 9.
This is not our rodeo going through a spiritual. This is not our first rodeo going through a spiritual warfare. It's not the first time we've been through these things. These things continuously to happen over and over, but this is just the final battle that you have to fight. Right? So we have to encourage all of our people to fight even more in these last days. Right? Bring it out.
Therefore, we also, albeit we need none of these things, for that we have the holy book.
The what?
The holy books.
Read on.
Of scripture in our hands to comfort us.
See that? We have the holy books of scriptures in our hand to comfort us. The promises, right? Everything that the Lord told us will happen to us, it happened, right? So we best believe on these promises that the Lord promises that He would give us the kingdom of heaven. Right? Let's go back to where he was.
Revelation.
Okay, let's go back to Revelation.
Revelation 21, starting at verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God, power out of heaven, prepared as a bride adored for her husband.
Right.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God's power is with men.
It's with men. Right now, jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
Of the children of Israel. Now go to Hosea chapter 6 and verse 1. Right? To get into those, you have to return back to the Lord. Right? You have to fully be persuaded in your mind, in all of your members, all of your body parts, right? Everything that you're coming back to the Lord. Right? A lot of people said, well, I just want to kind of crawl. No, brother, you have to sprint to the Lord, man. Right? You have to sprint as all of your might to the Most High God. You got to fight, man. Right? All these stumbling blocks in your way. That's all you have in front of you, stumbling blocks. Right? Just trial and situation, trial and error. Guess what you have to do? You have to jump over it. Right? You might get bruised up. Right? You might trip and fall.
Right?
You might you running through the woods, you might get scratched. You understand? Hey, your eyeball might come out, man. Guess what? You have to leave that eyeball and keep running and pray that the Most High give you another eyeball, man. Right? So bring it out.
That's right. This Hosea chapter 6 from the top. Come and let us return unto Yahweh.
No, let's stay niggas.
Return unto Yahweh.
Right, read on.
For he had torn, and he will heal us.
And he what?
He will heal us.
So the Lord said he will heal us, man. Right? We was put to death, put to shame, man. Right? Look at our nation. Right? The biggest news in our nation right now, not just Israel, our nation, us that know that we Israel, but our people that don't know. The biggest news right now is little Dolph, man. Right? We don't have nothing else going for ourselves. Right? We have literally nothing else going for ourselves. We're not talking about spiritual things. All we're talking about is investing in little Dolph.
Jake is not even talking about, and it should be spiritual, but Jake is not even talking about important things, even if you're in the world. The whole economy is about to crash. Like all of it, this Bitcoin and all this stuff, all that's about to be depleted, which means that you're not going to have no comfort in money. So you're going to have to get your spirit right with the Most High because you're not going to have nothing else.
That's right. That's right. And your leaders are not telling you these things. Right? TD Jakes is not coming to save you. The local drug dealer, that you kind of go to when you're down and out, and he fronts you. Guess what? He's not going to save you, man. He's not going to help you. Right? The Lord said, "Will riches save thee?" Right? Guess what? It's not.
Precept.
Bring it up.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower.
Is a what?
Is a strong tower.
Right, read on.
The righteous runneth into it and is safe.
And is what?
And is safe.
So the Lord said the Lord said the righteous run to it. The name of the Lord. He exists. Is a strong tower. Right? When we going through all of this affliction, guess what we run to? We run to the Lord.
Base.
That's right. Yeah, you got to run the home base, man. You don't see nobody, they kind of hit the baseball, right? And they kind of just, they kind of trot there.
On a stroll.
Yeah, they kind of just stroll. Only way you do that, you'd already hit that home run, right? And you already made it. But guess what? You ain't made it, man. Right. You sprint to home base, right? See the brother with the football, he's running for the touchdown. Right. A whole swarm of people are following him, and he just slows down and walks. Yeah. Right? He just gets into a trance, slow down and walk. Next thing you know, he get knocked out of his helmet. And that's what happened to you, a lot of you Jakes. Right? You get knocked out of your helmet, and you don't get up. So read that again. That precept you just read.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe.
And is safe, man. The Lord said the righteous runneth into it, right? And they're safe, right? Get the book of Micah, chapter 5, and go to verse 11.
This is the book of Micah, chapter 5, starting at verse 11. And I will cut off the cities of thy land and throw down all thy strongholds, And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers.
No more soothsayers. Read on.
Thy graven images also will I cut off,
Right.
and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands.
Right.
And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee, so will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen,
right?
Such as they have not heard.
See that? So the Lord is going to kill all of the wicked, right? All of the wicked is going to get put to death in these last days, right? If you're an internet Israelite, you know, if you're a scoffer, a complete freaked out demon, guess what? Death is coming to you and destruction, right? So give me the book. So go back to the book of Hosea 6:1. Let's see what the Lord said.
It's the book of Hosea chapter 6 from the top. Come and let us return unto Yahweh, for he had torn and he will heal us. He had smitten and he will bind us up.
Right.
After 2 days will he revive us.
Right. After 2 days, he will revive us. Read on.
In the third day, he will raise us up.
He will what?
He will raise us up.
So the Lord said in the third day, he's going to raise us up. Right. After 2 days, he's going to revive us. Real quick, go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. Right. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Right. The classic.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
This is being dead. This is a part of you being cut off from the Most High, and now you die, right? Your flesh, your body, your spirit was buried in the soil, right? You going into slavery on slave ships, right? The Lord said, is Jacob a homeborn slave?
Right.
Right? Is this the condition that he's supposed to be in? Is this the life that the Most High prescribed for Jacob to be in, poor and destitute? That's all we see in these last days. We go out to camp and we see our people just freaked out, destitute, man.
Right.
Right? With ships, read on.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
And you see that? And now you're living in that time where the Most High is reversing those curses and lifting off that veil off of us, man. Right? You're living in that third day. The third day is spiritual, right? The 3 days doesn't necessarily means literally 3 days, right? The Lord said, what? A day with him. Give me that in the book of 1 Peter real quick, right?
Verse 8.
Con. Give me the book of
Chapter.
it's 2 Peter. No, it's
Second.
like it. Yeah, 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8.
Book of Second Peter, chapter 3, verse 8. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
As a what?
As
1,000 years.
Read on.
And 1,000 years as one day.
And 1,000 years is as one day, right? So you have to kind of understand the numerology that the Lord deals with, right? Not that the Lord deals with time as if he's existed for some type of time, but the Lord deals with men with a special numerology, right? So the third day is spiritual, right? 3 is spiritual throughout the scriptures, right? 3 means completion, right? Our enslavement is almost completed, right? And our resurrection is here, right? Get what Yahweh Shah said real quick in Matthew chapter 17. Right, Matthew chapter 17 and verse 23.
Look at Matthew chapter 17, starting at verse 23. And they shall kill him, and the third day he shall be raised again.
And the what day?
And the third day he shall be raised again.
In the third day he shall be raised again. Right? Read on.
And they were exceeding sorry.
Right? So that third day is spiritual. Get Exodus chapter 23 and verse 14. Right? To show you that the Lord deals with that number 3, meaning completion. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that 7 is a spiritual number. Right? That's completion. Right? Number 3 is completion. 12 is completion. Right? 1,044. Right? Bring it up.
You said what verse?
23 and 14, I believe.
This is the book of Exodus chapter 23, verse 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread.
You see that? So the Lord said 3 times. Right? That's one witness that the Lord is dealing with that number 3. Right? He could have said more than that. Why didn't the Lord say 9? Right? Because the Lord is dealing with that number 3, just like he's dealing with other numbers. Right? Get Deuteronomy 16 and 16. All right, another witness for that that number 3.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 16, starting at verse 16. And it reads, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahweh, thy power, in the place which he shall choose.
You see that? That's another example that the Lord is dealing with the number 3. Get Acts chapter 11 and verse 9.
This is the book of Acts chapter 11, starting at 9. But the voice answered me again from heaven, what most high power had cleansed, that call not thou common. And this was done 3 times.
And this was done how many times?
3 times.
Right?
And all were drawn up again into heaven.
You see that? This was done 3 times. You know, they say in the world, hey, 3 strikes, you're out. Right? They get that. They get everything they do, they get it from the Most High. Right? All of this is from the Most High, and they just kind of use it on the left-hand side. They use it in wickedness. Right? Your modern day astrologists, all of that is on the left-hand side from once what was righteous. Right? Everything that was once righteous, they've now profaned it, right? And used it in wickedness, right? Kind of bring it out.
The book of Acts chapter 3 verse 1. Now Peter and John went up together into the temple at the hour of prayer,
right?
Being the 9th hour, which is 3 p.m.
That's right, which is 3 p.m., right? The Lord chose that time, chose that hour for us to send up those prayers because that's what the Lord do. Right, he's dealing with that number on a spiritual level. All right, let's get one more for that. Daniel chapter 6. In verse 9. Verse 10.
It says 6 and 10.
Daniel 6 and 10.
Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God Most High, as he did aforetime.
As he did aforetime, right? So our forefathers, it was their custom to pray 3 times a day. Now you could pray more, right? But you know, that's just kind of how we did it, right? That was like an elect amount of time, right? 3 times a day.
I could be mistaken, but didn't 3 times pass over Nebuchadnezzar?
I don't remember at the moment. I think so, though, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Go to St. John, chapter 2 and verse 18. Okay. St. John, chapter 2. Let's go to verse 18.
It's the book of St. John, chapter 2, starting at verse 18. Then answered the Jews and said unto him, what sign shewest thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things?
Right? What sign showeth thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things? Read on.
Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up.
Right? Destroy this temple, and then in 3 days I will raise it up. Right? Now that temple was destroyed. Our physical temple was destroyed. Right? It's not here. A lot of people say, well, you know, David's temple is. Yeah.
We had 3 temples.
You see that? And with the brothers, we're gonna have 3 temples. Right?
We had the first one, they got destroyed, the second one, and the third one. And no, it was 7 times passed over Nebuchadnezzar. I correct.
That's still
Spiritual number.
that's right.
Right.
So the Lord said that our physical temple was destroyed, and in 3 days he was raised it up. But on another level, that's talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. Right? That's literally who the Lord is talking about.
Right.
Well, Brother Endor, you going off. That doesn't say Black, Hispanic, and
Right.
Native American people.
Right.
Well, guess what? That's who it's talking about, man.
That's right.
Right? That's clear.
And also, too, I add this. I was writing the name Zebulon, and it got 7 letters in it. And if you think about 7, that's related to 3. Is when you write 7, you have a letter in the middle, and then you have 3. You have 2 sets of 3 on both sides. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So the Lord said, "Don't be ignorant of anything small or great."
Right.
So we getting the spiritual numerology in on the right hand side.
Right. You want to add that the Most High gave me that.
Yeah. So you got to kind of know spiritual numerology, man. The Lord deals with the number 12.
Right.
Right. We can get into those things. Go to Ezekiel Chapter 37 though, and verse 1.
37.
The book of Ezekiel Chapter.
Matter of fact, let's get
37.
Matthew 26 and 64 real quick. I mean 34
Matthew 26.
and 34. Right. One more on the
Book of Matthew chapter 26, verse 4,
34.
verse 34, and it reads, Yahushua said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice.
Thou shalt do what?
Deny me thrice.
Read on.
Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples.
Right. So Peter kind of didn't know what was going on. Right. But the Lord was telling them what was going to happen. Right. Not to say that Peter wasn't a righteous man, but that's how the Most High set it up. Right.
Okay, I got one.
And he denied him thrice, which is meaning 3 times. Kind of bring it up.
This is John 21 and verse 17. And it said, He saith unto him the 3rd time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him, let me find it. Peter was grieved because he said unto him the 3rd time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep.
See that?
The account of 3.
And he said that question like 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
That's right. He said that 3 times. Right. So the Lord is dealing heavy with the number 3. Right. And on that 3rd time, he told him to do what? Feed my sheep.
Right.
Right. And that precept is mighty because spiritually, we're living in the 3rd day. And what's happening?
It's the 1/3 raising up.
You see that? The
Yeah,
1/3 raising up, and the people are being fed by the sheep.
Yeah.
And real quick, get that real quick since you brought that up. Get
Jeremiah.
Zephaniah. I mean, it's Zechariah, right? Chapter 13.
And also 3 goes into 12 3 times. That it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm tripping. I'm going off. Never mind.
You said
Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 7.
Book of Zechariah chapter
Go ahead.
13, verse 7. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones.
Right? And I will turn my hand upon the little ones. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. Now, just kind of bring it out.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep.
Right? Now, Israel is that scattered sheep that was scattered. Now, go to Luke chapter 18 and verse 32. Luke 18 and 32.
18 and 32.
Yeah, I'm doing myself.
Book of Luke chapter 18, starting at verse 32. And it reads, For he shall be delivered unto the Gentiles, and shall be mocked, and spitefully entreated and spitted on.
Right? This is talking about the so-called white man. You had wicked so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, right, that gave up Yahushua to the Lord. Now, all of that was prophecy, right? That had to happen. The Lord had to be given up to the Gentiles so that he can shed his blood for the elect. Real quick, let's prove that in the book of St. John chapter 11 and verse 50.
Book of St. John, chapter 11, verse 50. Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people.
Now, this is Caiaphas, the high priest. This is a so-called black man, right? Now, he corrected the people, right? The people will, I don't know about giving up the Lord, and, I don't know what's going on, and we shouldn't do that. And, he's healing the people. But guess what? Caiaphas said, hold on now. Have you not read the scriptures, right? Did you not read Deuteronomy 18 and 18? Did you not read the book of Isaiah, the 11th chapter? Did you not read Isaiah chapter 53, right? How the Lord would have to be a sacrifice for the nation of Israel. Did you not read Numbers chapter 24, right? Verse 11 on down. Did you not read these things? How Yahushua was prophesied, right? That he would give his life so that you can have life. So Caiaphas said, what? Read that again.
Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
Right. So he's talking about the Jews, right? That one man should die for the people, and that our whole nation perish not, because we in slavery. Right. You got the Romans ruling over us, man. Right? You got wicked, what's his name?
Joe Biden.
Wicked Caesar. Yeah, you got wicked Joe Biden. He might be Caesar. See that? The brother said Joe Biden. He might be Caesar through the Spirit. Right? But I was looking for what's the man name? When the Lord called him a fox. Herod, man. Wicked Herod. You got wicked Herod telling other Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans what to do. Right? So the Lord had to do that thing. Right? Read that again. Verse 50. Damn Herod, man.
It's the book of John, chapter 11, verse 50. Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people.
Right, Yahushua should die for the people. Read on.
And that the whole nation perish not.
Right, read.
And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation.
Right, the Jews, he should die for that nation. Read on.
And not for that nation only.
Not that nation only, because there were two nations. Right, you had the split in the book of 1 Kings, the 11th chapter. You had Judah, and you had the house of Judah, and you had the house of Israel. Right? Not for that nation only, read on.
But that also he should gather together together in one the children of God Most High that were scattered abroad.
That was scattered abroad. The children of God that were scattered abroad. Right? So the Lord said, and smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered.
Right.
Right? So the sheep was scattered. The brother just read the precept that the sheep are the Israelites. Right? Now we can go to Ezekiel chapter 37, and let's start at verse 1. Then we're going to jump down.
I got a quick precept.
Bring it up.
Book of Isaiah chapter 53, and I'm going to start at verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, and men of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him.
And we hid as if it was our faces from him. Real quick, get the book of St. John. That's what I want. Not St. John chapter 8. Bear with me. I want Mark. That's what I want. I want the book of St. Mark. I want verse. Bear with me. I want the book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 31. Right? Mark 8 and 31.
It's Mark chapter 8, starting at verse 31. And it reads, and he began to teach them.
This is Yahushua, right? He began to teach them. Read on.
that the Son of Man must suffer many things.
You see that? He was despised and rejected of many men, right? He had to suffer many things. That's what he was prophesied to do, right? That's literally what he had. That when he came on the scene 2,000 years ago, right? He didn't come to be King of Kings and Lord of Lords and reign on the earth and save his people at that time, right? His first coming was for him to suffer and to be a sacrificial lamb for the elect, right? Read that again.
Mark 8:31, and he began to teach them that the Son of Man must.
I gotta say this. I seen a post the other day on Facebook. It said, "Well, why would God kill his son and not kill Satan?" That almost went off, man.
That's ignorant.
Yeah, that was ignorant, right? I almost became a keyboard Israelite, man. I'm about to get all the precepts I could think of right then and there. I was just gonna type away, right? I had to calm down. I had to relax, and I kind of, but I was upset, man, because he said, "Why would God kill his son but leave Satan?" Well, he doesn't know the prophecies. Right. He doesn't know what the Lord is about.
He don't know.
Yeah, he has no clue what's going on, right?
That's like what people say, if God was real, people wouldn't die.
Yeah, people are going off, man. They don't know. They don't understand what the Most High is about. So Yahweh Shah was sent down to sacrifice his life so that you can have everlasting life. You got to give something so that you can have something. A lot of people just want to just have, right? You don't want to go through. You don't want to serve your punishments. Hey, we went off, man.
Right.
We went off in the Garden of Eden. So guess what? All hell had to break loose, and we had to go through that judgment so that we can get to eternal life.
That's why. Oh, so like that's why Yahweh Shah said, "Let this cup pass from me." Not of me, but of thy will. He was talking about of his Father's will.
That's the flesh and the spirit fighting.
That's right. That's right.
I was gonna say, like, you appreciate something more when you had to work hard to get it. Not just having it handed to you.
That's right. And we could pull 1,000 precepts on that, right? But bring it out.
Mark 8:31. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes.
So the Lord was only rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes. Now, if you think about it, these are the people that are in high places or think they know everything already, right? It wasn't the babes, right, that heard the word and they wasn't defiled with women, right? It wasn't them, right? Shalom, King. How about you, right? But it was the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, right? Read on.
And be killed, and after 3 days rise again.
And after 3 days, he's going to rise again. And this is what happened to his people. The same thing that happened to the Lord is the same thing that happened to his people. We was killed, sent to slavery, right? We was castrated, names cut off, right? No more in remembrance as a nation, as Psalms 83 said. But guess what? You're living in the third day,
right?
Where the Lord is doing what? Rising us again, right? Now go back to where you was.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, and men of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Read on.
Surely he have borne our griefs.
Surely, right? He borne our griefs.
And
right?
Carried our sorrows.
Right?
Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Now go to John chapter 19 and verse 1. Right? With his stripes we are healed. Right? Now the so-called white man killed Yahweh Shah. Right? They scourged him. They went overboard with the punishment, just like how they did with us in America. The Lord said we would go to slavery on ships. That's what happened. But guess what? They didn't have to castrate us. They didn't have to utterly annihilate us. They didn't have to put Planned Parenthoods in our neighborhood. They didn't have to put crack cocaine in your projects, man. They already put us in the projects. We already eating cheese and hoagies all day and Doritos chips. They took all of the fruit from you. right?
Put pork in everything.
Put pork in everything, right? You have no apple trees outside. You don't have none of that stuff. You're living in the projects around all of this cement. And then what did they do? Put crack in your neighborhood. So they tried to destroy you. Right? And that's what they did with the Lord too. Bring it up, King.
From the top.
Kind 19:1.
Book of John, chapter 19 from the top. Then Pilate therefore took Yahweh Shai.
Now Pilate is an Edomite, right? He's your modern day so-called white man. Right, read on.
And scourged him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they put on him a purple robe.
Right.
And said, Hail, King of the Jews. And they smote him with their hands.
And they did what?
And they smote him with their hands.
See that? They're doing all manner of heinous acts to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Right? So they smit the shepherd and the sheep was scattered. Right? Now we just everywhere. Sent on slavery on ships. Right? All of the prophecies are now being fulfilled.
I gotta appreciate it.
Bring it up.
This going back over what he said. This is the book of James, chapter 1 from the top. James, a servant of Most High, and Yahweh by Shem Yahushua Hamashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greeting.
Right? The 12 tribes are now scattered abroad, and the Lord has to raise them up on the third day, wherever they are. Right? They're in the projects. Some of them live in trailer park homes. Some of them live under bridges. Right? Some of them live out of stores. Man, you got people, they sleep in stores. Right? I heard a brother say, well, I was sleeping in Planet Fitness. I would go to each Planet Fitness. They open 24 hours. I was showered there. Right. And then I'll kind of do my thing during the day. Right? Those were the Israelites are.
Shalakin. We also we have homeless people coming up to us, and they have an awful smell. They have an awful smell on them. You can tell they ain't bathed in months. You can smell it.
Yeah, that's what happens to our people, man, in these last days. Right? So let's bring it out. Ezekiel Chapter 37.
Book of Ezekiel Chapter 37, verse 2.
Verse 1.
Verse 1. The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Right.
And caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
They were what?
Very dry.
Right, read on.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
Can these bones live? Read on.
And I answered, O Lord, God, thou knowest. Again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you.
Now, this breath is talking about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Get that real quick in the book of Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, if I'm not mistaken. Chapter 7 and verse 24.
Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, starting at verse 24.
Now the Lord prophesied that he would send breath into these dry bones. This same breath is the breath that the Lord breathed inside of the nostrils of Adam in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, in the 6th verse. Right, bring it out.
For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Right, wisdom is more moving than any motion. Right, not you. When people say, "Well, I see heat waves, I see vibrations," your vibe is off. Hey, the Lord said, "Wisdom is more moving than any motion." Right, read on.
She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of power, the breath of the power of Most High.
For she is what?
For she is the breath of the power of Most High, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her.
See that? So wisdom is the highest thing to kind of reach in this so-called life. Right? A lot of people say, well, what are your ultimate goals to succeed? Hey, it should be wisdom.
Right.
Right? It doesn't get no higher than that. Right? So wisdom is the breath of the power of the Most High. And that's what the Lord promised that he was going to breathe inside of those dry bones. Right?
I got a precept.
Kind of break it out.
Book of Isaiah chapter 42, verse 5. Thus saith God the Lord, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit
and what?
And spirit
what are you doing?
To them that walk therein.
See that? So the Lord is going to give that breath of spirit, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right, for those that walk in it, right? For those that yearn for the Most High, for those that run to the Most High, the name of the Lord, right? Bring it out.
It's like it's in. I had one in Genesis, but this is.
All right, give me Genesis chapter 2 and verse 5 real quick. All right, the book of Genesis chapter 2 and verse number 5. I mean verse 6.
Book of Genesis chapter 2, verse 6. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
Right.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Right. Now, this watering was the spirit of the Most High, right, that he sent down on his chosen men, right, to orchestrate and get the earth in order, right? That's why a few verses down is gonna say that he was supposed to dress and to keep it, right? Like a gardener. You have a gardener, they have a yard, right? Their job is to dress and keep that garden, to keep it watered, right? So that when it's time to flourish, the plants flourish well, right, etc. Right now, if you're not nursing and gardening and dressing and keeping this garden, what's going to happen? Right, you're not going to receive no fruit. Right, you're not going to have no food. You're not going to have no harvest. You're going to be hungry, destitute, dry bones. Right, and that's what happened to us as a nation. The Lord snatched our knowledge and our wisdom from us, and we became nigger man. We started shucking and jiving. We became entertainers. We became prostitutes, whores, whoremongers, man. And that's what happened to us, right? Let's go back to Ezekiel Chapter 37.
There's a little bit more on that.
Kind of go ahead.
And man became a living soul.
And what happened?
And man became a living soul.
Right? That's it on that, right? And man became a living soul because he gave us that knowledge and wisdom. Now, real quick, go to Psalms chapter 49, right? When the Lord said, man became a living soul. All right, go to Psalm 49, and let's go to verse 12. Psalms 49 and 12.
Chapter 49, verse 12. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perish.
Right, man being in honor and abideth not, meaning he abideth not in the correction or the commandments that the Lord gave him. He's like the beast that perish, right? So if you're not abiding in that breath that the Lord breathed into you, you're going to be orchestrating like a beast, right? Jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beast that perish.
So you have, what do you have in this society? You have dogs, right? The same way that dogs go up to a tree, they kind of lift their leg up and just kind of pee in front of anyone, right? He's like the beast that perish, right? The same way how you'll go to a zoo and you'll see a gorilla, they'll just start doing, they stuff in front of everybody. And everybody's watching. Oh, look at the gorillas! Look what they're doing, right? And people recording them, right?
Well,
yeah, they kind of don't. They don't kind of go to the back and kind of hide themselves, right? They have no order. You're like the beast. You're just running wild, just doing whatever in front of everybody. You don't give a damn, right? So now the Lord gave us that knowledge and wisdom to do what? To have order, right? To have discipline, right? To have rule over your spirit.
Okay, now I was just gonna say, like a lot of these E's nowadays, with them doing all this twerking, that's kind of like a dog wagging his tail or something. or and how they sticking their tongue out. You know what I'm saying? It's very similar to like what beasts are doing. You know, the dog beasts kind of let their tongue just hang out and they kind of just grab it behind in front of everybody. That's the same thing. A lot of these sisters are doing because they don't have that understanding.
That's right. That's right. And the same thing with the men. You got men sagging their pants down to their ankles, man. Right? And they think that they're a king. Right? You have brothers come up to camp every weekend, man, with their pants down to their ankles, talking about, well, I'm a god. No, brother. You're like the beast that perish.
Right.
Right? If you're not walking as a king, if you don't have dominion over your spirit, if you can't rule over your spirit, right? If you have the spirit of just getting angry and upset, right? And just doing whatever, guess what? You're like the beast that perished. But the Lord breathed that breath of life into men, and you want to become a living soul, right? So let's go back.
Ezekiel,
kind
of
37,
verse 37,
chapter 37.
chapter 37.
No,
where
it's
you
chapter 37.
where you left off? Are you like verse 5 or something? Verse 4.
Okay, verse 4. Again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
And ye shall what?
And ye shall live.
Right?
And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin.
Now, Salaki, go to Revelation 11 and 3. You're going to find out that these dry bones are talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. All right, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 3.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 11, starting at verse 3. And it reads, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 days, clothed in sackcloth.
Now, on one level, it's talking about Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, right? This is who it's talking about, right? It's talking about the Israelites. Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, right? Read on.
These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before Most High Power of the earth.
Now go back to Ezekiel 37 and jump to verse 17.
Book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 17. And join them one to another.
And did what?
And join them one to another.
When we fell and the Most High broke up our nation in the book of first, let's get it real quick. First Kings. So we got Israel coming into the truth every day, and they don't know they don't know the basics, right? So it's our job to continuously go over the basics. A lot of people jump to the New Testament. If you just coming out of Christianity, how would you know what there's neither Jew nor Greek is if you don't know the history? So we got to continuously go over these things, not for ourselves, but for our people. The Lord said, roughly paraphrasing, I study for those that seek learning. Right. Roughly paraphrasing. So go to 1 Kings chapter 11 and go to let's just get verse 30. Let's get straight to the point.
1 Kings chapter 11, starting at verse 30. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces.
So this is a prophet that came into the king at the time, Jeroboam, right? So a prophet came into him, right, in the cool and the calm of the day, and he's prophesying to him of future events that's going to happen to our nation. Now, at this time, our nation is one nation. The chosen people are one people, one nation, right? There's no house of this and house of that, right? It's one nation of people with the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Read on.
Verse 31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus said Yahweh, Most High of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. Get to the point where he's talking about. Verse 32, but he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel.
So the Lord prophesied to our king that he was going to take the seat from Solomon, right? So it was already prophesied that Solomon would go off, right? That he would sin and go off and the Lord take the kingdom from Israel. And the chief prophecy in that is how the nation of Israel is going to separate into two kingdoms, southern and northern kingdom. The 10 tribes, which will be the house of Ephraim, and that one nation is going to be the Jews, right? Jump to verse 34.
Verse 34, howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life.
So he's not going to take the whole nation of Israel out of the landmass. He's going to keep with that one nation, which is going to be the Jews, which are the top tribes, because the Lord sprang out of Judah. But he's going to take all of the other tribes and cast them out, right? This is the prophecy that the prophet prophesied to Jeroboam, right? Read on.
But I will make him prince all the days of his life for David, my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes.
So the Lord had mercy on David and his sons, right? Which is the house of Judah. And he casted out the other Israelites, right? So the prophecy is that the Lord is going to make those two candlesticks back one, right? Start where you left off at in Ezekiel, verse 17.
Going back, make a point about what he was saying. A lot of people get tripped up, and I see many people asking, why does it say Ephraim? Why does it say Israel? Why does it say Judah? Why does it say Israel? People have a misunderstanding.
About book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 6.
17.
Verse 17. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Would thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick.
And do what?
And make them one stick.
So the Lord said that he was going to make them one stick, right? Judah and Ephraim, right? Which is the Jews. And that's why Paul said there's neither Jew nor Greek. Right? That's the whole point of why he said that, right? Now, real quick, go back to Revelation 11.
Revelation 11, start at verse 3.
Let's jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right now, their dead bodies is talking about those dry bones, right? This is where we cast it out to. This is what it comes down to. Lying in this dead street, this wicked place that we in, right? Which is spiritually called what?
Sodom and Egypt.
And we know what sodomy is. Homosexuality. Wicked, heinous, erroneous acts. Right? Read on. In Egypt, because we in slavery, we in captivity. This is Egypt all over again. Look on your dollar bill, you see a pyramid.
That's right.
You see a wicked, nasty pyramid on a wicked, nasty white man's dollar with his face up there, with a pedophile on the face.
The white man face on it, he represents Sodom.
That's right. That's right. He represents everything on the left-hand side that this society promotes, man. Who you think is pushing Lil Nas X? Right. Did Lil Nas X just wake up one morning and say, well, I'm going to be on national television and I'm going to push the gays? He didn't wake up and say that, man. Somebody pushed him and drove him to do that. They said, guess what? If you do this, hey, this is what you can get. I'll pay you this money. And he kind of said, well, my family's never been rich. I guess I can do that, right? And then he did it. Madness.
Egypt also represent witchcraft. They got so-called and they got magic. They got different gods. They got over here, which spiritually is Egypt. They got white Jesus. You got a god for clothes. You see different stuff on his clothes. They got pyramids on clothes. You got Chris Brown representing Black Pyramid and all this stuff.
Yeah, and Salaki, that's why a lot of these rappers are getting put to death, man. They used to say it back in the day, well, you sold your soul to Satan, right? well, if you go in the music industry, you have to sell your soul. Right? Not knowing that who they're talking about is the so-called white man. He's the chief Satanist on the earth that's dressed in a sheep-like apparel, man.
Right. He's the one buying the soul.
That's right. He's the one buying your soul. He's the one that's sacrificing you to the spiritual demon Satan. Right? That's his job on the earth. And you'll see that in the movies, man. What's that movie? That movie that came out. What's the name?
Recently came out.
Yeah. Y'all remember that movie we was talking about it? But so like there's a movie.
I need a head.
It's a series, right? In the series, in the last episode, Esau was exposing himself, telling you how he's the chief Satanist and that you so-called black people are the chosen people and that you broke the commandments. And this is the reason why they're doing all of these things to you. Yeah. Right? Somebody, you said, what's the name of it? Yeah. Them. It's called Them. Right? See that? So the sisters remembered it. It's called Them. Right? So if you look at it, look at that series, man, and look at the last episode. Yeah. Or the last few episodes, they started kind of telling the truth. Right? So look into that. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 11.
Verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right? Now go back to Ezekiel 37, verse 22.
Book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations.
And they shall what?
Be no more two nations.
Go to Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 8. Right? Hebrews chapter 8. Stay right there. King.
It's
okay. Go ahead.
Book of Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Right? So that new covenant, they're not going to be two nations anymore. It's not going to be the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Right? The Lord is going to bring us all back together, and we're going to have one king, right? Which is Yahweh Shai.
Right.
Right? And then under him is going to be King David. Right? And then it's going to be the 12, so on and so forth. Right? So that one nation is talking about the Israelites, and you living in those days. You living in a third day. Right? This is the third day. We're coming upon the third day. Right? Read that again.
Book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
Neither shall what?
Neither shall they, Salakia, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Let me keep reading.
Okay.
Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their distastable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places.
For he will do what?
I will save them out of all their dwelling places,
right?
Wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God.
Right, now get Baruch chapter 3 and verse 4. Right, Baruch chapter 3 and verse 4. I'm going to get a few more and close up. Right, we might have to do a second part on this. Right, Baruch chapter 3 and verse 4.
Book of Baruch chapter 3 starting at verse 4. Oh, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Almighty, thou most high of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
What the Lord say?
Hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
Read on.
And of their children, which have sinned before thee, and not hearkened unto the voice of thee, their most high. For thee which cause these plagues cleave unto us.
See that? For that cause these plagues cleave unto us. Right? So now you're living in the days where the Lord is hearing the prayers of the dead Israelites. We was once dead, and now the Lord is resurrecting us on the third day.
Right.
Give me Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 19.
26.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 19.
Book of Isaiah chapter 26, verse 19. Thy dead men shall live together.
What the Lord say?
Thy dead men shall live together.
Read on.
With my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust. For thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead.
In the what?
And the earth shall cast out the dead.
And the earth shall cast out the dead. Go to Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1.
The book of Ephesians chapter 2, starting at the top. And you had he quickened it, who were dead in trespasses and sins,
Right?
wherein in time past ye walked accordingly to the course of this world.
See that? So the Lord said, you were the people that walked accordingly to this world, and now he quickened you, meaning he made you alive, and the Lord gave you your name back as the Israelites, as the kings and priests on the earth, right? And you living in the third day before the Lord make his sacrifice to come and judge the world and save the elect, right? Let's get Isaiah 62 and verse 1. We're going to close out with that one. Isaiah 62 and verse 2.
Book of Isaiah chapter 62.
I got it. Book of Isaiah chapter 62, verse 2. You said verse 2?
Con.
And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness.
So like it started verse 1.
Verse 1. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness,
Right?
and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all kings thy glory, and thou shalt be called by a new name.
What the Lord say?
And thou shalt be called by a new name.
Read again.
And thou shalt be called by a new name.
And thou shalt be called by a new name. Right? You living in the last days. Repent, keep the commandments. Hey, we living in the third day, right? And endure to you got a precept. Come bring it up.
It's the book of Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Right? For now is our salvation nearer than we believe. Right? Keep the faith and endure to the end. Right? This is part 1 of the dead Israelites rising on the third day. And with that, Kwame Ashala.
Kwame Ashala.